What's going on, y'all? The reviewer is here, and I'm back on y'all, man. I want to say Happy New Year. This is 2026. I know I'm a little late, but technically speaking, March is supposed to be the first month. Hint, hint. Anyway, with that being said, what's going on, y'all? I know it's been a while with me since I post any videos or anything like that. In case people didn't watch this video exactly the time when I uploaded, I posted on my community post too. I normally don't do that. I don't normally post on it, but I think I'm going to start. All right. Now, I want to say I apologize for being absent during this whole time period of me not uploading videos. And I also want to appreciate those that actually contacted me and asked, what happened to your reviews and all that stuff and all the other videos. But I got a lot of things planned for y'all, and I'll mention that later on in this video. Okay? So the reason why I have not been on here in a while is because it's simple. I was working 2 jobs last year in 2025, and I didn't really have time to, make any videos and post them on here because I was doing it at first when I was working 2 jobs, and then later on I was like, man, this is too much work, man. I'm gonna have to put this on hold. So I've been working my ass off here for the past year and some change until I started noticing some crazy behaviors at my full-time job. Now, I'm not going to list the name of the company yet, but if y'all want to know further details about that, I'll have another channel that I'm going to start having or, start posting. I'll put that link in the description box for those that have not seen it, because I know that music is an amazing thing to listen to, but it is also good to hear something more real life personal situations that we all go through as an adult or even as possibly as a teen, because we all go through our issues and things of that nature. And I think what I'm going to start doing, no, I know what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to be more personal with y'all on this channel. So it's going to be more, again, on a personal level, and we can actually interact with our real issues that we deal with in this cruel ass world, this society, modern society that we face today, and all that stuff. So I was gone that long because I was trying to focus on my debt, because I was in debt for a while, making car payments and behind bills and all that stupid crap. But now I done kind of clear all of that out, and I can be able to really talk to y'all about finances and credit scores, the things that really help yourself in the long run. Because if you have a very low credit score, you're not going to really get too far. And you still got to have finances too to keep yourself in check, and also be aware of what you're spending. Now, I'm going to speak more about that on another video, but I'm going to say this before I address what I have more in stores. If you have a job, because most of us work a 9 to 5, pretty much a boring job, right? If you work a 9 to 5, right, and you feel like it's stressful, you feel like you're not being treated equally and all that stuff, my suggestion to you is just leave. Get the hell out of there. Find something else. Because I know a lot of the jobs out here aren't the best, but it pays the bills. I guess that's what most people say. But you also got to think about your mental health too. And I think that's what's missing from these jobs today. And I'm talking about the people that work there. Mental health is way more important than currency. You know what I'm saying? I feel like mental health is the best currency to have. I mean, admittedly, the job that I was working full time pays way more than the part time job. And I'm not talking about, the hours I work, I'm talking wage. But at the same time, I don't come home with any headaches. I left the full time job that I was at because it was so much of racism, nepotism, favoritism, you name it. It was all there at that place. And I observed it when I was working there. They hired their relatives, like their sons or their cousins or whoever the hell they were. They got hired and they got promoted to higher positions than I were. And I was getting frustrated because it's like, not that I wanted to be promoted in those positions they said, but it was just the principle. Like, I put my hard work in. I was arriving on time, doing the job like I was supposed to. And if I messed up, hey, I confess to it. Hey, you know what? I messed up. My fault. It is what it is. I'll try my best to correct it. These are the things that I was trying to do at that job. But unfortunately, the racism there is real. If anybody try to tell you, just ignore what's going on and just focus on you and get out of there, don't do that. Because I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. It's going to only get worse. And people tell me to contact HR and all that stuff. I'm like, HR is not there to help you. HR is there to protect the company. They don't care. In reality, they don't care about you. Now, I'm going to digress from what I'm talking about for a little bit. There was one person that was in HR and they really cared. But she wound up leaving a while later. And it was because she realized the full corruption of that company. So I want to say shout out to her. I'm not going to say the name on here, but I want to say shout out to her. She was the only one that actually cared about what's being said. And I remember speaking to her, and she really did care about keeping the workplace safe and equal and all that stuff. But that's very rare. Very rare. Now, back to this job that I'm talking about. The HR are not there to help you for the most part. It's like 97% of the time, they're not there to help you. They're there to help that company. So when they was telling me I need to go to HR, but I'm like, no, I'm not wasting my time even trying to do all that because they're going to know who did it. So with that being said, I wind up leaving. I put in my 2 weeks notice and I said, yeah, I'm done. And I simply said, I don't belong here. It's obvious. You know what I'm saying? So when a lot of guys say that they would do this or that for this amount of money an hour, but they're coming home with headaches, stress from the job, and I tell them, look, just quit. Why stay at a place where they don't like you? The moment you mess up something, they're gonna get rid of you just like that. And I simply told them when I put the 2 weeks notice, hey, the job gonna come. The job gonna keep going without me. I'm not special. It's gonna keep going without me. It's that simple and plain. So this is a lesson out there to those that try to say, "Oh, you gotta do what you gotta do." Yeah, but I get that, but you're telling me I gotta do what I gotta do, even though I'm stressing my behind off, going to a job that I really hate to go to at this point. Because the funny thing was, the job was okay when I first started. But it got bad when the manager of mine left. The manager of mine said he got tired of it. He said, I'm out. He said, my mental health is way more important. And that's another thing. As you get older, you start to realize what's way more important for you. And just simply, like, I'm not expecting to go to a place where we're going to have a block party, we're going to have fun and all that stuff. No, I'm not expecting all that. But if you go there, you're supposed to do your job. You're supposed to be respectful with one another, professional, all that good stuff. I mean, have a few laughs here and there, But at the end of the day, you're there to do a job. It's that simple. You're not there to joke around and slack on your work ethics and none of that stuff. You're not supposed to do all that. You're supposed to do what you're supposed to do, respect one another, and when you're finished, you get the hell out of Dodge. Simple and plain. And if a friendship comes out of it, that's cool. If not, hey, we're work buddies. We work, we clock out, adios, until the next day or next week or whatever. That's how it's supposed to be. It ain't supposed to be on some, you treating them like crap, even though they putting the work in. They doing their best to meet up to the standards, and you just treat them like crap. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. I don't care how much money they pay. And I'm gonna give a shout out to the boomers, because the boomers did what they had to do. They put in the work. They work at a company for like 30, 40, maybe 50 years, and then now they're gonna call it a wrap. Most of them is under retirement now, and they probably got like a house or two. But the same boomers be the ones be talking bad about millennials and the Gen X's. Even the early Gen X's is kind of part of that boomers era. You know what I'm saying? Because they done put their work in, working a job, and they done retired, and now they're, sitting there living fat. While us millennials and Gen Zs are still working our ass off. And even in the cost of living is increasing. So if you feel at a company that you just don't like the vibe, and you've been there for a while, and that's another thing I'm gonna mention. And this is advice that someone told me, and I love this advice. He said, if you work for a company, you stay there for at least a year, and then you ask yourself, do you see yourself there in the next 3 to 4 years after you've been there for a year? If the answer is no, then it's time to get out of there. If the answer is yes, then cool. You keep going, and then again, you stay there for another 2, 3 years if after that 1 year, and then ask yourself again, do you see yourself there within the next 2, 3 years? And then if the answer is yes, keep going. That, to me, that's probably one of the best advice that I've got, because I realize that I've been at a company for too long. I got too comfortable, and when I try to ask for suggestions and they just shot me down like I just started, that was a lesson learned to myself. So anyway, I'm no longer there. I'm no longer working 2 jobs. I finally got one now, and I feel like it's all right. I think I can work through that as long as I get off the time that's convenient for me. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, hate to talk about that issue, but it's just that some people really believe into the you got to do what you got to do mentality, even if it stress you out, even if you feel suicidal. There was a truck driver that actually killed themselves because they got tired of all that working and stuff. And I'm here to tell y'all, man, like, it's not that serious. Now, I'm not saying that don't take the job seriously, but it's not that serious that you gonna go crazy and off yourself. It's not worth it. And as I got older, mental health is the best currency. And I get it. Like I said, you gotta pay bills. If you live in the city, you gotta pay bills. It's that simple and plain, right? But you still should have fun. Like, you only live once, man. There's no need to work a company for 20, 30, 40 years out of your life, and you never really went out there to see what you can really enjoy. I just always say, if you got a talent for something and you really enjoy doing it, just do it, man. Just do it. Because like I said, you only live once. I respect a person more if they try something out that they enjoy and it didn't work than someone who never tried it at all. Because the worst that can happen is that, hey, you fail. At least you can say, hey, at least I attempted. At least I tried to see if it works out and it didn't. Now I can get back to whatever I was trying to do and keep it at that. Because life is full of risk. It's full of risk. And again, the worst that can happen is you didn't succeed in what you really wanted to do. That's the worst that can happen. So that's it, though. That's all I'm going to talk about. I'm going to get more in depth with that company that I told y'all about on my other channel. I'm going to get more personal with it because I don't want people to forget about what happened to me. And I'm not the only one that's been in this situation with a company that treated you like crap, even though you know for a fact that you know your stuff. You know what you're doing. So but I'm gonna get more in depth on the other channel. I'll put that link in the description box, or I might put a snippet of it and say if you want to watch the rest, go to that channel or something. I don't know. Now, I'm gonna talk about another issue with the artists that feel like the streams isn't paying them enough, but their music still is on the streams. I'm gonna talk about that on another video too, because I feel like when they say stuff like this, it's not genuine. I'm gonna get to it. Now, that's it for that. Now, for as far as this channel goes, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna still make music reviews, and the movie reviews, however, I'm going to put that on my other channel as well. I'm gonna just strictly keep it on this channel of music reviews, and I may talk about some musical rants, not really rants, but just musical topics when it comes to the rap game or even just the music industry in general. I get more into depth with that on this channel. And then on the other channel, I'll have movie reviews, and I'll have more personal issues that most of us can relate to. Because again, I don't want people to think that I don't know anything about what's going on in society today and all that stuff. So, but there you have it, y'all. Be on the lookout for the album reviews and artists, people that I speak about. Because keep in mind, I made videos during the process of me being on hiatus, but I just didn't have the time to edit and chop it and all that stuff. And I still got the Cypher and Verses too, the Cypher and Verses episode. And also for those who don't, or for those who have the OG album of whatever album it is, I have that as well. But with that being said, I want to say much love to everybody that's been showing me love on the Instagram channel. Follow me on Instagram. I post a lot of the CDs and cassette tapes. I don't really play vinyls. I don't collect vinyls like that, but I do collect CDs and cassette tapes. And also keep in mind, when I was on hiatus, I still was buying CDs. That has not, I didn't stop doing it. All right. So I got a lot of album reviews in stores for y'all, mainly down south albums, Midwest, and even the East Coast and the West, everywhere. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter. If I like it, I like it. Don't matter where you're from. You know what I'm saying? So that's it, though. Y'all know my saying, much love to the real folks. And I'll be on here back with another video. All right? Much love, y'all. Peace.